Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And once you build it, no one can take it from you. If you've ever doubted yourself, felt stuck, or watched opportunities slip by because fear held you back, this is your wake-up call. These 10 habits can change everything. Unstoppable confidence isn't about arrogance, it's about inner certainty. It's the quiet belief that you can handle whatever comes your way. In this video, we'll break down 10 daily habits that will train your mind, sharpen your focus, and make confidence your second nature. Let's build the kind of confidence that never wavers. Number 1, win the first hour of your day. The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything that follows. It's like the opening chapter of a great book. It builds momentum, creates focus, and sends a clear message to your brain. Today, we lead. Today, we take control. Too many people start their mornings in reaction mode. They roll over, check their phones, scroll through emails, or fall into the chaos of other people's agendas before their feet even hit the floor. That's not a routine, it's a trap. And it kills confidence before the day even begins. To build unstoppable confidence, you need to win the first hour of your day. You need to create a ritual that puts you in the driver's seat. Because confidence isn't just about how you feel, it's about how you act. And the way you act in that first hour, it echoes for the next. Start by asking yourself, what would the best version of me do first thing in the morning? Would they hit snooze 5 times or rise with purpose? Would they grab their phone or grab their journal? Would they rush out the door or take time to align their mind? Confidence grows when your actions align with your values. So build a morning routine that reflects who you want to become, not who you've been settling to be. You don't need a 3-hour ritual. You just need intention. Here's a framework you can follow. I call it MVP: mind, vitality, purpose. Mind, do something that centers your thoughts. This could be journaling, meditation, prayer, or reading something inspirational. Take 10 minutes to sit with your thoughts instead of running from them. When you train your mind to slow down, you become calm in chaos. And that's real confidence. Vitality. Move your body. Your physiology drives your psychology. A quick workout, a walk, stretching, anything that gets your blood flowing will prime your brain for clarity and energy. You don't need to run a marathon, just move. Confidence lives in motion, not stagnation. Purpose. Set your focus for the day. What's one thing you want to accomplish? One way you want to show up? One intention you want to carry? Write it down. Speak it out loud. Clarity breeds action, and action breeds confidence. Here's what happens when you win the first hour of your day. You begin with intention instead of distraction. You remind yourself that your goals matter. You create small wins before the world can interrupt. You move from chaos to clarity and from hesitation to decisiveness. That first hour becomes a daily act of self-leadership. You stop reacting. You start directing. You're not just checking boxes. You're becoming the kind of person who follows through, who leads themselves, who honors their time. And that's where confidence is born. Not from results, but from rhythm. The rhythm of small wins stacked each morning, over and over again, until belief becomes automatic and doubt has no room left to live. So tomorrow, before the noise of the world pulls at your attention, make yourself a priority. Protect your first hour like your life depends on it. Because the quality of that hour often determines the quality of your entire day. Wake up with intention, move with energy, focus with clarity. And most importantly, remind yourself that you're in control. Because confidence doesn't start at 10 a.m. It starts the moment you decide that you lead your day. Your day doesn't lead you. Number 2, keep the promises you make to yourself. Confidence is not built by chance. It's built by consistency. And one of the fastest, most powerful ways to build unstoppable confidence is simple. Keep the promises you make to yourself. Let's break this down. Every time you set a goal, make a decision, or tell yourself you're going to do something, whether it's waking up early, going to the gym, writing that email, or starting that side project, you create a micro contract with yourself. When you follow through, even on the smallest promise, you send a signal to your brain. I can trust myself. That's the foundation of confidence: self-trust. Not ego, not bravado, not pretending you've got it all together, but a deep, quiet certainty that when you say you're going to do something, you do it. Most people think confidence is about achievement. It's not. It's about alignment. When your actions consistently match your intentions, you build integrity with yourself. And that inner integrity is magnetic. It creates a calm, grounded kind of confidence that doesn't need validation, approval, or applause. But here's the flip side. Every time you break a promise to yourself, every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, and don't, every time you hit snooze instead of getting up, every time you abandon the goal you swore mattered, you chip away at your own belief. You start to see yourself as unreliable, undisciplined, weak, and over time your self-image becomes fractured. You might still look confident on the outside, but inside there's a quiet voice whispering, you don't really follow through, do you? So how do you flip the script? You make fewer promises and keep all of them. Don't promise to overhaul your entire life in one weekend. Start with one commitment, one small, doable action that you can absolutely stick to. It might be as simple as making your bed, drinking a glass of water every morning, writing one sentence in your journal, turning your phone off at 9 p.m. It doesn't matter how small it is. It matters that you do it every single time, because each follow-through becomes a vote for the kind of person you want to be. And those votes add up fast. James Clear said it best. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. So cast the right votes. Prove to yourself that your word matters. Here's a quick method to help you strengthen this habit. Make the promise visible. Write it, post it where you'll see it. Keep it front and center. Make it small. If it's too big to do every day, it's too big to start with. Scale it down until it's manageable. Track it. Use a habit tracker, journal, or calendar. Momentum is easier when you can see it. Honor it like it's sacred. Treat your word to yourself like a contract. If you said you'd do it, do it. No matter how small. There's something powerful that happens when you become a person who follows through. Your mind gets quieter. Your energy gets stronger. You stop second guessing and start deciding. You stop overthinking and start acting. Because you know you can count on you. Confidence isn't about never falling. It's about knowing that even if you fall, you'll get up, keep your word, and keep moving forward. That's the kind of confidence no one can fake and no one can steal. Keep your promises. Build your power. That's how unstoppable confidence begins, with you keeping your word to yourself. Number 3, speak to yourself like someone you respect. If someone followed you around all day and repeated everything you said to yourself, would you still want them in your life? Most people treat their friends with more kindness than they treat themselves. They'll lift others up, offer encouragement, and show empathy, but when it comes to their own inner voice, it's criticism on repeat. You're not good enough. You'll never figure this out. Why even try? Let me tell you something powerful. Confidence starts with yourself, not with achievements, not with applause, with the words you say to yourself when no one else is listening. The story you tell yourself becomes your identity, and your identity shapes your behavior. So if your internal dialogue is filled with doubt, judgment, and fear, you'll act from that place and your results will reflect it. But when you speak to yourself with strength, respect, and belief, something shifts. You start to act like someone who's worthy of success. You take more risks. You bounce back faster. You stop shrinking and start showing up. Think of it like this. Your mind is a garden. Every thought is a seed. Negative self-talk is like planting weeds. You didn't mean to grow them, but they still take root. The only way to change the garden is to be intentional about what you plant. This isn't about cheesy affirmations or pretending everything is perfect. It's about practicing a new kind of honesty, one that builds instead of breaks. When you make a mistake, don't say, "I'm such an idiot." Say, "I'm learning. That didn't work, but I'm growing." When you feel fear, don't say, "I'm weak." Say, "This is uncomfortable, but I've done hard things before. I can do this too." When you face a challenge, don't say, "I can't handle this." Say, "I might not have all the answers yet, but I trust myself to figure it out." Here's the truth. Your brain listens to everything you say, even if you're just thinking it. And over time, those thoughts become beliefs. Beliefs become identity. Identity becomes reality. So train your inner voice like you'd train a muscle. Catch the negative patterns, interrupt them, replace them with language that supports your growth, instead of sabotaging it. Here's a practical method to help you rewire your self-talk. Notice the script. Start paying attention to what you say to yourself in moments of stress, failure, or doubt. Awareness is step 1. Name the lie. When you hear, "I always mess this up," recognize it as a lie. No one always fails. Call it out. Replace it with truth. Respond to that voice like you would to a close friend. "Actually, I've succeeded before. I've figured things out before. I can do it again." Repeat it daily. New thoughts don't stick unless you use them. Speak truth to yourself every day, out loud if you have to. Confidence doesn't mean you'll never feel fear or doubt. It means you don't let those feelings decide who you are or what you do. It means that when the old voices whisper, "You're not enough," a stronger voice inside you answers, "Watch." The most powerful relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. So build it with respect. Speak to yourself like someone you believe in, because that's exactly who you are becoming. Confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about choosing to believe in your worth, especially when it's hardest to do. So from this moment forward, be the kind of person who speaks life into their own soul. That's not just a habit, it's a revolution. Number 4, do hard things on purpose. Confidence doesn't grow in comfort, it grows in resistance. And if you want to build the kind of self-belief that no one can shake, here's the truth. You must do hard things on purpose. We're wired to avoid pain, discomfort, and challenge. But comfort, if left unchecked, becomes a cage. And in that cage, dreams shrink, potential fades, and confidence dies a quiet death. Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly proud of yourself? I mean the kind of pride that comes from the gut, the kind that makes you stand taller, breathe deeper, and think, yes, I did that. It wasn't after binge watching Netflix. It wasn't after staying safe, avoiding risk, or doing what was easy. It was after doing something hard, something you didn't have to do, but you chose to do anyway. That's the secret to unstoppable confidence. Choosing the difficult path over and over again until it becomes your identity, until you become the kind of person who does hard things, not because you have to, but because it's who you are. You don't need to climb Everest or run ultra marathons to build grit. Start smaller, start daily, start intentionally. Take the cold shower, wake up 30 minutes earlier than you want to, have the uncomfortable conversation you've been avoiding. Do one more rep, one more page, one more attempt, even when you're tired. When you do hard things on purpose, you train your mind to stop fearing discomfort. And when you stop fearing discomfort, you start acting from power, not avoid. That's where confidence lives. In the reps you don't want to do, but you do anyway. Here's what happens when you consistently embrace hard things. You learn that fear is just a signal, not a stop sign. You realize that failure isn't fatal. It's feedback. You stop waiting for motivation and start leaning on discipline. You stack real evidence that you are capable, resilient, and relentless. And that evidence becomes your armor. Every hard thing you choose to face is a psychological vote for strength. Over time, those votes create a new identity. Someone who doesn't back down, who doesn't fold under pressure, who doesn't let fear win. This is the opposite of fake confidence. It's not based on appearance, titles, or hype. It's earned. It's forged. It's built one challenge at a time. But here's the key. Don't wait for life to force you into discomfort. Go get it. Build it into your routine. Make challenge a habit. Because when hard things become normal, life doesn't shake you as easily. You've trained for adversity. You've rehearsed resilience. You've built a baseline of strength that fear can't penetrate. And here's the best part. The more hard things you do, the less intimidating they become. What used to scare you becomes routine. What used to feel impossible becomes your warm-up. And every time you level up, your confidence follows. So ask yourself today, what hard thing have I been avoiding? What challenge could I choose not because I have to, but because it will make me stronger? Then do it. Even if it's small, even if it's scary, especially if it's uncomfortable. Because confidence isn't built by wishing things were easier. It's built by getting stronger. One rep, one step, one hard thing at a time. So lean in, embrace resistance, and remember, you don't need easy. You need earn. Number 5. Learn something new every day. If you want to build unshakable confidence, don't just look in the mirror. Look in the library. Look in the podcast app. Look in the notes you take, the books you read, the questions you ask. Because one of the fastest ways to become more confident is this. Learn something new every single day. Confidence is not just emotional. It's not just about feeling good or thinking positive. It's deeply practical. Confidence is competence over time. The more you know, the more you trust yourself. The more you grow, the more you believe you can figure things out, even if you don't have the answers right now. That's the key. Confident people don't know everything. They just know they can learn anything. When you stop learning, you start doubting. Your thinking gets stale. Your problem-solving skills shrink. You start second-guessing decisions because your toolkit is empty. But when learning is a habit, not just something you did back in school, you're always sharpening your edge. And sharp people don't sit on the sidelines. They step up. This isn't about being a genius. It's about being a student, always. It's about staying curious, hungry, and humble enough to say, I don't know this yet, but I'm going to find out. James Clear said, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And learning is one of the most powerful systems you can build. It fuels momentum, expands your perspective, and reminds you that growth is always within reach. So how do you do it? How do you turn learning into a confidence-building machine? Here's a simple structure that works. 1. Start with 15 minutes a day. You don't need to study for hours. You just need to be consistent. Listen to a podcast while walking. Read 10 pages of a good book. Watch a short educational video. Choose quality over quantity. And make it non-negotiable. 2. Choose topics that stretch you. Don't just consume comfort content. Dive into areas you don't fully understand. Learn about money, psychology, health, technology, communication, leadership. When your knowledge grows, your worldview expands. And so does your confidence. 3. Apply what you learn. Learning without action is just entertainment. When you apply your knowledge, you create results. And those results build trust in your ability. If you read about habits, change one. If you study communication, try it in your next conversation. Knowledge plus action equals power. 4. Track your insights. Keep a notebook or digital log of what you're learning. This not only reinforces the knowledge, it also gives you visible proof of your growth. Looking back and seeing all the things you've absorbed, that's fuel for your belief. Here's what happens when learning becomes a daily ritual. You speak with more clarity. You approach challenges with more tools. You make decisions faster. You carry yourself with quiet earned authority. And most importantly, you stop shrinking in rooms, because you know you bring value. Every day you learn is another day you level up. And here's the secret. The world doesn't give you confidence. You earn it by preparing for it. The people who show up with conviction, certainty, and presence, they've done the work behind the scenes. They've been reading, thinking, questioning, practicing, growing. So don't just wait for confidence to strike. Build it with books, strengthen it with skills, cement it with action. Every page, every lesson, every new idea is a step toward the person you were meant to be. Because when you make learning a lifestyle, confidence stops being something you reach for. It becomes something you carry with you everywhere you go. Number 6, surround yourself with confident people. You become like the people you spend the most time with. Their energy becomes your energy. Their habits rub off on you. Their standards shape what you believe is normal. If you want unstoppable confidence, here's a truth you can't ignore. Your environment is either feeding your belief or starving it. Take a look at the 5 people you interact with most. Are they building something? Do they speak with conviction? Are they pushing their limits, chasing growth, challenging comfort zones? Or are they playing it safe, complaining, shrinking, doubting, and dragging others down with them? This isn't about judging others. It's about protecting your momentum. Confidence isn't just internal. It's relational. You can be doing all the inner work in the world, but if your environment constantly plants seeds of doubt, those roots eventually grow. But the opposite is also true. When you surround yourself with people who believe in themselves and believe in you, everything changes. You start thinking bigger because they think bigger. You take more risks because they make bold moves. You silence your inner critic because they remind you who you really are. Here's the powerful truth. Confidence is contagious. When you spend time with people who carry themselves with purpose and certainty, it becomes easier to believe that you can too. This is the ripple effect of proximity. If you sit at a table where people talk about ideas, goals, and growth, you naturally level up. But if you stay in circles where gossip, fear, and excuses are the norm, that becomes your ceiling. So here's the challenge. Audit your circle, not from a place of superiority, but from a place of intentionality. Ask yourself, who makes me feel more alive, more capable, more bold? Who drains my energy, fuels my doubts, or keeps me small? Who challenges me to be better, not just feel better? And then do the hard but necessary work. Lean into the people who inspire you, and limit exposure to those who don't. If you don't have those people yet, go find them. Read their book, listen to their podcasts, follow their work, join their communities. The internet has made it easier than ever to learn from and connect with powerful minds. Be intentional about what you consume and who you spend time around, because your confidence depends on. Also, be someone who gives back that same energy. Encourage others, celebrate their wins, share what you're learning. When you become a source of belief and courage, you start attracting the same. Here's the mindset shift. Stop trying to do this alone. Confidence is not a solo mission. It's a community-fueled force. When you run with lions, you start acting like one. You don't just borrow their courage, you grow your own. Remember, no one climbs alone. The strongest people in the world have mentors, role models, and supportive circles that lift them high. Why should you be any different? Surround yourself with people who remind you of your power, not your problems. People who won't let you quit on yourself. People who see your potential, even on days when you don't. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. So build your circle wisely, because confidence grows faster in the soil of belief, accountability, and shared ambition. And when you're in the right environment, you don't just feel confident, you become unshakable. Choose your circle, choose your future, because the people around you, they're not just influencing your mood, they're shaping your destiny.